So this week we're going to turn our attention to the last chapter, chapter 8 in your book. And that's what impressed me the most about this chapter, which is in odd sort of ways, sort of about how individual people can carve out a place for themselves in their environments, both social and environmental, but also how sometimes they go awry, and the different views that different cultures have on insanity, which range all the way from that it's really bad to it might be good. And I think what impressed me the most is that how close anthropologists live to all of these things that are looked a little bit askance at in our Western cultures. I was amazed to see that one of the authors of the textbook had kind of a parallel experience to my own in terms of rainmaking. He reports a case where he went to a ceremony and they did all kinds of things about making rain. And in a different part of the world, exactly the same thing happened to me one time. I went to a ceremony with my friend Don Pedro, who was noted local shaman and healer and all of those sorts of things. And it was, as reported in your textbook, the end of the dry season, and everybody was anxious about whether there was going to be rainfall or not. And so they had a ceremony. I think they probably had that ceremony, most years. And it was a whole day long ceremony, all kinds of symbolic things going on, like they sacrificed a turkey. They cooked a very large meal for a large number of people that were present. And most of the day, my friend Don Pedro was at a table where they had various things sitting out, including several bottles of rum and some statues and things like that. And he was by the table most of the day, except when he was sacrificing a turkey or supervising the cooking of a pig under the ground, or all of those sorts of things. And then sure enough, at the end of the day, it started raining. And you could say, well, it was kind of at the beginning of the time when there should be rain, but I don't know how Don Pedro would have known that it was the right time to do a rain ceremony. He has all kinds of things that he watches, like he told us that there are a certain kind of tree, and you could watch what times the leaves came on the trees and what order the leaves came on the limbs and that sort of thing, and then you would know when the rainy season was going to start. And having had an experience of one incident, well, it worked. So keep an open mind as you go into this week's readings. And it's kind of, I had some trouble figuring out what kind of a question to ask you to answer, and I finally decided, well, you just need to look at what's available to you to think about, in this situation and share your take on it with your classmates.